Dating in 2026 needs to be studied. It needs to be studied because what is going on out there is horrendous.
I think I just went on the worst first date in my life ever.
These men will lie to your face for months. They'll look you in the eye and lie to your face and you can't tell. They're so good at it, you can't tell.
This experience was one of the things that led me to delete my Hinge account 2 days ago.
I got stood up today. Was I annoyed? Yes.
He basically ditched the date halfway through because his friends texted him saying, we're going out now.
Dating in 2026, officially the weirdest thing ever.
What is happening?
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Desktop Drop, where we tell it like it is.
Dating in 2026 needs to be studied. It needs to be studied because what is going on out there is horrendous. I have not dated a man properly in like over 10 years and I just don't understand what is going on. Why do they act like they need to be chased? And if you don't message, then they're not going to message you. What is happening? Because I just thought, okay, maybe it's just one person, they're not that interested. But this keeps happening like all of the time. And every girl that I speak to is confirming that this is normal. Of course, I'm not naive to think that when you're dating, these people are totally single. Everyone has someone. I so get that. But when I was dating my ex, he made it very known that like, yeah, I want you. Like, we're going to be together. And that was it. And we just fell in love really quick. There is so many mind games. There is so much uncertainty. It's like, you don't know whether you should be messaging or not. I just wish people could speak with their heart and their like true intentions. And then things would just move so much quicker.
Men stop chasing because modern dating turned effort into a liability. Text too fast, you're desperate. Care too much, you're clingy. Pursue too hard, you're creepy. So now, everybody plays it cool and wonders why dating feels dead.
I was talking to a guy who lives a couple states away, and we're talking, you know, we both want a serious relationship, and this is like 4 days in, mind you, and the text messages were kind of dull. We hadn't talked on the phone yet. And he asked me, so when are you gonna come see me? And I told him, like, I need to get to know somebody before I drive, or like before I fly out to go see somebody, to meet somebody. Like, in this day and age, like, women, it's not safe for women to just meet up with men. Like, it isn't. There's plenty of stories of women getting murdered after a Tinder date or whatever. And so I tell him, like, I need to talk over the phone or FaceTime. And he tells me that he's not comfortable to FaceTime or talk on the phone, that he doesn't even talk on the phone with his doctors. Like, everybody knows better. Like, he doesn't do it. Like, whatever. So I tell him he's gonna have to visit me first then, because I am not risking my life to fly out, to see somebody, to take the PTO, to get a pet sitter, to buy my ticket. I'm not doing all that for somebody that can't call me on the phone. Like, that's bare minimum, talking to me on the phone. It's not that hard. So his response was, nah, I'm good. So it's clear that he wasn't really interested in the first place. Two, probably not looking for a serious relationship. But yeah, he refused to talk on the phone.
Men aren't flying strangers out just to get interrogated on FaceTime first. If you need FBI level reassurance before even meeting, don't be shocked when men lose interest.
So I met this guy on Hinge, and he was like, let's meet up. Is, you know, late night too late for you? I was like, no, like, I'm a night out anyways, like, it's fine. So we meet for what I thought was going to be drinks. You know, we're going into the city, into DC, to get some drinks. It's like an 8:45 date on a Thursday. The first red flag that I had was he was like, oh, do you want to park at my apartment and we can walk over together? No. I asked all my girlfriends, I was like, do you think this is sketchy that he's asking me to park at his apartment? Because it's giving, you want to invite me up later, and I'm not giving that. So after talking to the girls, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to drive and park on the street, and we can meet at the front, you know, no big deal. And he's like, okay, like, I just got here. I'm like, perfect, me too. I just parked out front. I also fucking cut my finger right before I left for the date. So I get there, he's like, oh, I love this place because it has good mocktails. And I'm like, oh, you don't drink? Like, no worries. I don't have to drink either. So he orders us 2 mocktails, which is fine. We start talking, like, conversation is flowing, okay? So we're talking about our family, our jobs, like, we're very in tune with each other. We're drinking our drinks, like, whatever. And he goes, I'm so sorry, like, I'm having such a good time, but I, like, just have to tell you that your voice reminds me of someone that I work with that I hate. What? Why would you tell me that? So I'm like, oh, like, I'm sorry. What the fuck am I supposed to say to that? So I'm like, oh, like, sorry, should I shut the fuck up? Like, he's like, oh, no, like, I'm having a good time. Like, it's just, like, I can't stop thinking about it. Should I fucking leave? Should I leave right now? So I'm, like, mortified at this point because... So we continue talking, whatever. He's like, so what are you looking for? And I was like, well, what are you looking for? Because it sounds like you want to tell me what you're looking for. So he's like, yeah, I'm Muslim. I don't drink. I don't smoke. But, you know, I like to fuck. I met you 20 minutes ago. So I'm like, oh, so, like, you're just looking to hook up. And he's like, yeah, like, blah, blah. And I was like, did you think that we were going to hook up tonight? And he was like, yeah, I was hoping.
Women will ignore every obvious late night hookup signal, then act shocked when the guy who invited them out at 8:45 p.m. for mocktails said he wanted sex.
I went to get drinks with this guy last night, impromptu, like, had just matched with him. He wasn't, like, super my type, but I figured that at worst he would be, like, a little nerdy. Like, he had, like, Invisalign and, like, glasses and, like, a beard that didn't connect, but he was, like, cute, I thought, all things considered. He picked, like, an elevated cocktail bar by my house, so I thought that was, like, a good indicator that it was going to be an A-OK date. I walk up, he's outside waiting for me. He is, like, super excited, like, oh my god, like, really, like, yelling, I thought. And I never necessarily got him to clarify on, like, what the enthusiasm was about, but, you know, we, like, go into the restaurant, we sit down. Can't keep his eyes up here, constantly looking down. I would normally say something about it, but he was giving, like, on the spectrum, no shade. And he was, like, yelling everything he was saying, like, really loud across the table at me, like, hot ass breath hitting me in the face. I was like, whatever, the eye contact isn't even important. I let it go. We're at this place that serves pretty much exclusively cocktails, that has 6 pages of cocktails, and he has a beer. To each their own. I order my own cocktail, and he serves up the question, if you got the opportunity to be with a man like me, would you be able to remain consistent? I said, is this a job interview? He yells back, no, a job interview would be like, what's your favorite color? Tell me that you've never been to a job interview without telling me you've never been to a job interview. We continue to have loud conversation as he talks about himself to himself in front of me for some time now. He asks me about my gardening habits and then suggests that we go garden. I'm like, okay, you can walk me home and we'll garden. Throughout the walk, you can tell that he doesn't think that he's walking me home, even though I've explicitly stated that. So about halfway through the trek, since, like, I am getting a little uncomfortable, I'm like, hey, you know, how far away did you park? I don't want to take you too far from your car because I want you to be able to walk home easily or walk back to your car. But he's like, what do you mean we're going to your house? I said, no, I'm going to my house. He was like, oh, I was going to come over your house. I'm like, you're not invited over my house. He's like, okay, well, we'll go over mine. I'm like, I'm not going home with you and you are not coming home with me. This clearly pisses Homie off, and for once in the whole night, he's silent for a minute. And then after that, he plays The Weeknd, featuring Drake, I think, off of his phone and is like, you know, jamming to it, singing out loud as we're walking down the street, like getting in, like, his element, I guess, because he's, like, in his feeling. Oh, cringe. We finally get to my house, and he's, like, rounding out the end of a political tangent, to which I'm like, yeah, bye. And he has the nerve to do the
Dating in 2026 is women calling obvious intentions mixed signals after overlooking every red flag because the guy was attractive enough to get a chance anyway.
This experience was one of the things that led me to delete my Hinge account 2 days ago. There was a man, let's call him Toxic Finance Bro, because he is toxic and he works in finance. We matched on Hinge a few weeks ago and we exchanged a couple of messages, but I ended up ghosting him for no reason in particular. Actually, one thing that I did find a bit sus about him was he kept being like, what are you doing tonight? Do you want to get drinks tonight? And I didn't like that. It was giving kind of hookup energy. It was not giving intentional date planning. But other than that, I had no real reason for ghosting him other than the fact that I had several other matches and I can only talk to so many people at once. Fast forward a week later, it's a Thursday night and my friend and I are in Acme. And a guy approaches me and he says, hey, I would love to buy you a drink. And I was like, sure. And, you know, I did not recognize this guy. And then he introduced himself and said his name. And that's when I put two and two together because his name was quite unique. And I realized, oh my God, we matched on Hinge. And I told him, I was like, oh my God, we talked on Hinge and I ghosted you. And he was like, oh my God, yeah, I remember you. Anyway, we really hit it off. I think we're both just really enthralled by the fact that we had been brought together unexpectedly like this. And so we were talking for ages and then we started making out, and we were making out in the corner of Acme for, you know, an hour or two. It was a while. This man was saying all these things to me. He said to me, I can tell that you're a high value woman and so I want to take you on an amazing date. And I said, yeah, sure, like I like the sound of this. He invited me back to his place and I declined. So instead he got my number and he said, let's go on a date. And I said, yes, sounds great. The next day, Friday, he texted me, asked if I wanted to hang out that night. I was not free, so he said, okay, let's do Saturday. So the following day. I was a bit disappointed when he suggested that we just go for drinks at Bar Piccolino. If you're not aware of it, Bar Piccolino is a drink and coffee spot in the West Village. It's very casual. You can't even make reservations. They don't even have proper tables to sit. It's more somewhere that you would like walk in and grab like a quick aperitivo or something. It's not a date spot, and it's also not even open late. For a date, if you're going to do drinks, if a man is being intentional about the planning, I would expect him to pick somewhere where you can make a reservation and it's like a nice cocktail bar. So it was giving kind of low effort. But you know, I decided to go along with it. He said, let's meet there at 8:30. Fast forward to an hour or so before the date. He texts me and he says, hey, I'm running a bit later because I have to stop by my friend's birthday and wish him happy birthday. So I'm going to be a bit more like 9:15. I'm kind of annoyed by this because I'm like, well, if you knew you had your friend's birthday, then why did you try and schedule a date on the same night? And of course, what's convenient for him is because he picked a casual walk-in spot, he can keep pushing it back as late as he wants because he doesn't even have to be there for a reservation time. He keeps pushing it back. It becomes 9, then 9:15, then 9:20, 9:30, to the point where I'm literally not even putting on my makeup because I'm like, I do not want to start slapping foundation on my face until I can guarantee that this man is definitely going to show up. So I had to keep texting him and be like, okay, I'm leaving soon, like I'm about to order the Uber, like are you sure you're on track for 9:30? And of course this is ridiculous that I'm having to check in with this man this many times to make sure that this is still happening and that he's still going to meet me. I should be feeling secure that there is a time that we agreed on that we are going to meet at, you know. Anyway, we finally meet at 9:45. So he has pushed it 1 hour and 15 minutes later than we originally agreed to meet. So when we did finally start our date, we had a really nice conversation and we had, again, really strong chemistry, which I was expecting because when we had met at Acme 2 days prior, we did have really good chemistry. The conversation was really good, but then after an hour, Bar Piccolino was closing because they close early. So they were closing up and the guy said to me, okay, would you like to go find a different bar or do you want to just go to my place? And normally I would not be comfortable going back to a guy's place on essentially the first date. But because it was 11 p.m. on a Saturday in freezing cold January, and I knew that whatever bar he would find for us to just go to at short notice wasn't going to be good vibes, it was probably just going to be a random dive bar, I was like, there's kind of no point just for the sake of going to a second place. So I just said, look, like whatever you prefer is fine. So he said, okay, let's go back to my place and continue hanging out. And I said, okay, fine. So I said, I'm just going to go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, I came out, and he said, hey, I'm really sorry to do this, but my friends that I was with before I met you just now, they just texted me that they're about to go out. So I want to go meet up with them and go out with them. So I have to go now, but you're really great and I'd love to see you again. So are you free tomorrow? And at this point, like, I'm literally standing in the middle of the street, like, and it's freezing cold, by the way. It's literally, this was the night before the big snowstorm, so I'm freezing cold. And I'm like, I didn't even know what to respond because this like happened literally so abruptly. And so he gave me a quick kiss goodbye before we could even discuss it further, and he just dipped. So I was left standing there, and I just ordered an Uber at that point, and I just went home after 1 hour. So he basically ditched the date halfway through because his friends texted him saying, we're going out now.
After ignoring every warning sign because the guy was attractive, and it falls apart somehow, men as a whole become the problem.
These men will lie to your face for months. They'll look you in the eye and lie to your face, and you can't tell. They're so good at it, you can't tell. I've been on the dating apps for roughly 6 months now, and in my last relationship, I got pretty burned, so I'm a very cautious person. I'm always on the lookout for red flags. I take note of everything guys say. I take note of everything guys do, and if anything gives me the creeps, they're not welcome in my life. That is not even enough anymore. Last fall, I matched with a guy on Hinge who I didn't really click with romantically, but we had some pretty good conversations, so we actually decided to be friends. We spent a lot of time together, we talked a lot, we talked about our past, we told each other, you know, everything that was going on in our lives. He would come to my house, hang out with my roommates, hang out with my dog, and we were becoming really good friends, and I was really confident that this guy was a good guy. That being said, I was still always on high alert. I was watching his behavior, I was watching his eyes, I was taking note of the words that he used, and everything, and always watching for red flags because I'm not trying to take any chances. He always seemed respectful. He was always willing to go out of his way for me. He liked to keep to his commitments, and even though there was nothing romantic going on between us, I was slowly starting to trust him as a friend and believe that, hey, maybe this guy really is well-intentioned. One of the conversations I would often have with my friend was how I was kind of starting to have this negative belief that there were no good men left on earth. I felt like everybody in my age range had really poor intentions. They were looking for the wrong things. They weren't emotionally mature, and my friend was always really adamant in the defense of men. He would always say, I really believe there's good people left. I can't believe that. I don't think the majority are bad. And he was always defending men. And this is relevant. Recently, I had a very, very negative experience with a date that ended up with me not feeling safe one night at my house. And my friend was kind enough at 2 a.m. to drive over to the house. He slept on my floor that night just to make me feel safe. And that was kind of when I solidified this idea of like, okay, I think he really is a good one. In the last week, he had disappeared for about 4 days, which was very unlike him. I wasn't sure if something had happened to him, if he was really busy with work, but he wasn't responding to me. When he finally did respond to me, he said something along the lines of, I'm having a really hard time. All I can say is she's not telling the truth. And I was really confused. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I remembered I had gotten an Instagram request from a girl recently, and I wondered if there was anything in my message requests, and there was. Turns out the message that had been sent to me a few days prior was from my friend's ex, and she was describing some really scary abuse that had occurred with my friend. This guy had come to my house at 2 a.m. after I was assaulted to comfort me. He slept on the floor respectfully. He was there for me. He expressed how badly he felt for me. He empathized with me, all while also being an assaulter himself.
One manipulative man doesn't prove all men are dangerous. It proves bad people can wear a good mask. Women ignore that same truth every time a toxic guy gets passes because he's charming, attractive, or emotionally smooth.
Dating in 2026, officially the weirdest thing ever. Okay. It's options. It's people having options. there was a time you'd go out, you meet someone in the bar. Yeah, you go out every couple of weeks with your girlfriends. You meet someone, they're good looking, they tick the boxes, you swap numbers, you're invested. Okay? Because you're not going out for another 2 weeks. You're not going to meet anyone in the next 2 weeks. But now on the apps, you're swiping constantly. Yeah. So you might get 5 matches at once. So you have 5 people approaching you at once. You're talking to all of them. You're interested in maybe 1 or 2 of them more than the others. But the others also have options. And they're not as interested in you as you are in. But then their favorite option finds somebody else. So they take you out on a date. You get on really well. Okay. You enjoy their company. You want to see them again. But then one of their other options messages them from 2 months ago, right? And they really liked them. So they're going to hang out with them again, but they're going to put you in archive or something because you're an option and they might need you in a week's time.
Modern dating died the moment people stopped treating each other like potential partners and started treating each other like backup options with notifications on standby. Anyway, that's enough for today. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, like, share, and stay tuned for the next video.